Hi guys, Stage Rat here. First of all, I apologise for the horrendous quality of this video. That's really dark outside for some reason. Middle of summer, go figure. And the lighting in here isn't great at the best of times anyway, so sorry that this looks awful, but I can't really do anything about it. Okay, I had originally intended this video to be a reaction, but I got shown the trailer and I didn't have a camera there, so I'm just gonna have to talk about my feelings on it. Okay, straight off the bat, I unironically really like Cats as a musical. I know it's stupid, I know it's, the plot is, well, it's not even there, let's be real, until the last 20 minutes, and then it's throw in all the plot, but I can't help it, I just love it. I love the songs, it's Andrew Lloyd Webber at his most Andrew Lloyd Webber-y. And on some level I can't help but enjoy that, it's cheesy, it's got great choreography a lot of the time. The original choreography is ridiculously good, and the fact that they actually do look like cats a lot. I really like Cats as a musical is kind of the takeaway from this. Having said that, of all the musicals that people over the years have been saying, this really needs to become a movie, ones like Wicked, Miss Saigon, Sunset Boulevard as well is kind of getting a thing of people saying this should become a musical movie. And even the ones that have kind of recently gotten that to that stage, like Sweeney Todd, Les Mis, Into the Woods. I've never come across someone saying, okay, someone needs to make Cats into a musical movie. And it's kind of obvious why not, because as a show, it is all about spectacle, even more than the mega musicals that people tend to immediately think of, ones like Miss Saigon, Les Mis, Phantom. Cats absolutely relies on the spectacle of sitting there and watching it happen in front of you, and watching these incredible dancers, singers, actors. It relies very much on that. So and as I said, there is no plot essentially until the last 10-20 minutes of the show. And even that is tracing paper thin. A head cat gets kidnapped, spoilers, a head cat gets kidnapped, they get him back, and one of the cats dies or gets reborn, or however you want to interpret that ending, without substantial reworking. And I mean on an almost fundamental level. I don't know how you would look at Cats as a musical and say, I can turn this into a movie. Clearly someone did, and that person has an awful lot to answer for. I don't know what they were thinking, essentially. And this is coming from someone who unironically really enjoys the musical as it stands. They filmed it in 1998, I think. It was either 98 or 99. As part of, the really useful group, semi-stage, semi-studio recreation group of shows that they've done. They did Joseph and Jesus Christ Superstar, and they did Love Never Dies the Australian version as well. And it worked, you know, that as a kind of recreation of the stage production put on film, that really works. And, you know, I think people were kind of like, okay, that's, you know, that, yeah, that's fine, I'll take that. As far as I know, no one was then kind of saying like, oh god, this needs to be like on real sets, or, you know, real sets. But, you know, oh, it needs to be in like Trafalgar Square and Hyde Park and, you know, all these famous London landmarks, and they need to, you know, look like, not even look like cats, they don't even look like cats in the trailer, they look like humanoid abominations that I think if no one told you, if you just showed a picture of any of the characters in this trailer and asked someone to say like, okay, what species are these, I'm not entirely sure cat would be anyone's first answer. It looks awful. And there's no getting around that. I mean, they make people like Idris Elba look horrifying, and not in like the, oh, he's playing McCavity so he should look horrifying. He looks like, I don't even know, it's like pure nightmare fuel. And the others who are playing like even the more kind of cutesy cats like Victoria and Mistopheles / Quaxo, because I don't know if they've split them into two yet, they look horrifying as well. And I kind of think, honestly, at this point they should have just kept the costumes from the stage show or the 1998 version that were kind of toned down a little bit. Because, I mean, at least they are recognisable as cats, and they look, they do kind of look adorable. Some of them kind of border on that nightmare fuel thing. But again, those ones tend to be the ones that are meant to, like the Rumpus Cat and McCavity and all McCavity's minions. You know, they're the ones that are meant to look horrifying, but clearly exist on a different level of horrifying than the ones that are meant to look more cute, like all the kittens. With this, it's just everyone just looks horrifying. I mean, so yeah, that's like the first thing, just it looks awful in terms of how they've made the cats themselves look. Almost to the point where I think like they either should have just gone with the same costume choices as the 1998 version, because those were already, you know, the stage costumes reworked for the camera and for being on film. Or they should have just made them all CGI cats, like actual cats. It's the same issue I have with Johnny Depp as the wolf in Into the Woods. I kind of think, like, to me, the horror from a song like Hello Little Girl is all like from the subtext, and on the basic level of like, it's horrifying that you know that this wolf wants to eat Little Red Riding Hood, and then the subtext kicks in of like, oh, this is predator engaging with a young girl, and that makes it even more horrifying. The fact that the subtext, they completely got rid of that as subtext in the film version, and it was just, you know, Johnny Depp in a furry pimp coat with like candy and everything hanging out of his pockets. Oh my god, it really annoyed me that the one opportunity they had of making... He looked less like a wolf than a lot of the stage versions make the wolf look like a wolf. And, you know, if you've seen the recording of the original production of Into the Woods, you know that, like, it's very clearly a wolf-human hybrid. Johnny Depp as a wolf looked less like a wolf than that intentional humanoid wolf did. That was one of the major things that annoyed me about Into the Woods. And this may seem ridiculous, but it was the fact that like they had the perfect opportunity to make the wolf an actual wolf, and they just stuck Johnny Depp in a grey furry suit and gave him a hat with ears stuck onto it, like you get in a high school play. And that's an insult to high school plays, because a lot of the time they actually come up with quite good ideas of how to do stuff like that. And this is almost the same thing here. Like, at this point, I'd much rather they just did CGI cats and made them look like actual cats than these minions of hell that we've got stuck with. I'm not entirely sure Tom Hooper is the right director to go to if you want to make a musical. And I admit a lot of this is kind of personal residual bias from the Les Mis movie musical, because a lot of my issues with that can either be boiled down to the casting or the direction. And a lot of the time actually it's the direction over the casting. At the very least we can hope for no extreme close-ups, because dear God, that would be absolutely terrifying as all hell. With these things. I mean, like, seriously, if he does the same style that he did in Les Mis of like having everyone sing like face right up to the camera and the eyes like, there is going to be a lot of terrified people in the audience. I think Tom Hooper tends to be a very literal director, and this is a problem especially with musicals, because a lot of the time it's things are delivered in metaphors, especially in the songs, and not everything On My Own doesn't have to be sung in the middle of a rainstorm. When she's singing about "in the rain, the pavement shines like silver," it doesn't have to be in the middle of a rainstorm. She's just talking about how she feels. But he stuck it in the middle of a rainstorm. And, like, Cats especially, because you never are given much of hints about, like, what the world outside this junkyard where the show takes place looks like. We can imagine that they are all like cat-sized, based on like the scale of everything around them, but even that's slightly off because you have a tyre that's as big as the boot of a car. It's very surreal. In that set, beyond the fact that these are like talking, dancing, singing cats, it's a very surreal world that the whole musical takes place in. And to give that to a director who seems intent on taking things very literally in terms of his direction, again, it just seems like a bizarre choice, and one that I don't necessarily get. The choreography was done by the same person who did Hamilton, apparently. And I don't know that person's name. I don't know what other shows they've been on. It was just, from the choreographer of Hamilton, in the trailer, So clearly that's the thing that they want people to associate with in terms of the choreography. From what I've seen, it looks fine. I hope that they keep a lot of Gillian Lynn's original choreography in it somehow. At least just in terms of like how the cats move, because she apparently kind of almost developed this way of them all moving. That was very feline, and in the behind the scenes thing of the 1998 or 1999 production that they filmed. She's talking to Sir John Mills, the actor who played Gus, about how to like hold his hand so that it looks like a paw and all of that. And it's clear that a lot of thought kind of went into like how can we make this as feline as possible. So I kind of hope that they've kept that. There's not really enough choreography shown in the trailer to make a judgment on that, because, you know, it's all very much like about who's in it. Speaking of which, why? Dear God, okay, when people think about Cats as a show, I'm fairly sure one of the first things that comes to mind is dance. It's a very dance-heavy show. And like, when I say dance, I mean like ballet, jazz, modern, gymnastics, you know, almost across every single discipline you can get. So naturally, let's stunt cast the hell out of this. Stunt casting can occasionally be surprisingly good. Most of the time it's not. And from the people that they've stunt cast in this, I'm kind of leaning very heavily towards it being the latter. Judi Dench, Ian McKellen and James Corden are really the only ones that I get in terms of the characters that they're playing. Because, again, those are the characters that tend to go to actors, and actors who can sing, rather than singers or performers who are primarily singers or dancers. So I can understand that. Idris Elba as Macavity? Don't get me wrong, I love Idris Elba. He's just astoundingly awesome. And I've yet to be, like, disappointed in anything that I've seen him in. I'm mentally preparing myself to be disappointed in this. I'm not expecting that they keep Macavity's big, like, dance solo. But at the same time, I know he can look threatening, like, but I don't know. And combined with the fact that the shot of him in the trailer, he just looks awful. Cats isn't necessarily a show that I would, like, fill to the brim with stunt casting, which it seems like almost like they have done. Jennifer Hudson, I haven't actually heard enough of her voice to know whether I truly like it or not. The most I've heard is the stuff she did when she was on Smash. And I loved her in that. But her singing Memory, there was one moment in it where it wasn't, I can't tell if she didn't hit the note right or if they've rewritten the tune slightly. But it just sounded off somehow, and either way, it's kind of jarring when it's such a popular song, like not just within the musical theatre fandom anymore. It's, you know, reached, or not quite reached, I Dream to Dream levels of like worldwide recognition, but it's kind of up there. So yeah, I'm reserving judgment on her because, like I said, I've not really heard enough of her voice outside of this to know how she sounds really normally. All I've heard is what she did on Smash, and I absolutely loved her voice in that. So yeah, I'm reserving judgment on her. James Corden, I can take or leave in musicals at this point. Like, I don't think he was the right person to play the baker in Into the Woods. I thought he did fine. I just didn't think it was as good as it could have been. I think he's Christopher Jones. I could be wrong about that. I haven't actually looked at the official cast list yet, so I could be wrong about a lot of things. If he is playing Christopher Jones, I can see that. That's fine. You know, he barely sings anyway. So unless they've like given him something else, I'm good. But again, it's just annoying that they've decided to push for having all these stars in it. Both the stars and the material deserve better, is all I'll say. And that, like, Cats doesn't really deserve that much. Again, coming from someone who genuinely likes it, it is just pure fluff and not really much more than that. And it's never intended to be much more than that. So, you know, just this entire thing is just bizarre that this is the musical that someone looked at and thought, this deserves to be made into a proper movie musical. Like, I mean, at best, Cats is considered one of musical theatre's biggest jokes. I think in terms of a show that, like, no one can really understand why it's so successful. And, you know, I've come across a lot of people who resent it for that. Or, you know, people who tolerate the fact that it exists but would never go and see it. I've met very few people like me who genuinely like it. Whether we've all just been like hiding in the woodwork because we've been so afraid to like share this video, but like, whatever. I'm opening the floodgates and saying, my name is Stage Rat and I really enjoy Cats the musical, unironically. Really, this all comes down to the fact that I genuinely don't see the point in this existing as a musical movie, especially when there are so many that people are making a lot of vocal support for. I mean, Dear Evan Hansen's getting a lot of calls for making it into a movie now, and as I said before, Wicked, people have been wanting Wicked to be made into a movie for, you know, the past 16 years or however long it's been since it opened. There's so many people have kind of been saying, no, we want this made into a movie musical, or like, this has, at the very least, this has the scope to be made into or the potential to be made into a movie musical. Cats doesn't really have either the scope or the potential for it. It's very much, like, there are some shows that I think can only work on stage. Cats and Into the Woods being two of them. A lot of Sondheim shows, actually, like, I can't see Assassins ever being made into a film and being good. Yeah, I think really the only Sondheim shows that I can think of that might work are Passion, and even that's debatable because so much of it relies on like the narration of the letters and like the chorus that movie musicals for whatever reason seem to have like a complete phobia towards nowadays. Like seriously, hashtag give movie musicals back their ensemble numbers. Yes, Les Mis movie, I am looking at you butchering Red and Black like you did. I have a lot of issues with that musical, with that, by the way, so I may need to like talk about that at some point just to get that out of my system, because it has been sitting there since 2013. It all comes back down to this, essentially. I don't know why or how anyone would look at Cats as a musical as it stands and say, one, this deserves to be made into a movie musical, and two, this can be made into a movie musical. It just it's bizarre, really, and like the trailer, I think, is kind of a reflection of how stupid it is. Like they have barely any of the songs in it apart from Memory, really, and the like that like everyone knows is, or like everyone in musical theatre knows is from Cats. To kind of get us lot on side, I guess. But but apart from that, it's the other thing. It's a very dialogue heavy trailer, and a lot of the dialogue is just painful. Like, oh my god, you can't try to give Cats a plot. Like, just it is basically just a review of these poems that have been set to music. In a way, I'm guessing they've actually retooled it a lot, so it won't actually bear that much resemblance to the stage musical. And in a way, I'm kind of hoping that that's what they've done, because if they literally just took the stage musical and plonked it into a movie musical setting, it is going to be one of the worst movie musicals ever made. I'm calling that right now. If that is what they have done, it is going to be genuinely awful. So me not wanting that to happen, as someone who wants this kind of renaissance of movie musicals to continue to happen until we get like all these ones that everyone wants, and also someone who genuinely likes the material to start with, I'm hoping they've just gone, we'll completely redo this as a, you know, as a project until it barely resembles the stage show. Clearly they've kept in the thing about like being reborn, and you know, they'll keep in all the major songs like Mr. Mistopheles, Rum Tum Tugger, Macavity, you know, all Memory, all the ones that like everyone who barely knows what Cats is knows. And I am just hoping the rest of it is completely retooled, because that is genuinely the only way I could see this working. From the trailer, I'm not holding out much hope that it is going to be any good, or that that is what they have done beyond adding in dialogue to try and give it more of a plot than it had. Yeah, I'm really not holding out an awful lot of hope for this one, which is sad because, you know, it already has a fairly good filmed adaptation of it that still holds up when you watch it now, barring, you know, the fact that there are continuity errors everywhere, and, you know, at one point you can see the shadow of a harness that someone's wearing on one of the costumes, and like the makeup doesn't always quite reach back to the wigs. You know, it's a mess, but it works, and I think everyone was kind of fine with that being all we had in terms of a filmed adaptation of Cats. So why they've done this, I have no idea, but it exists, and since I currently work at a cinema and hopefully will still be working there when the film comes out, hopefully I'll get to see it for free, and I'll probably post a review of it on here or on my blog. Smooth. You know, to say what I think, and I'm guessing it's not going to be good, but you know, I'll try and keep an open mind about it. I mean, my friend who loves Cats even more than I do, when I showed him the sent him a link to the trailer, he texted me back a few minutes later saying, like, I hate you, and he hasn't spoken to me now for like several days. So, and as I said, he loves Cats as a musical even more than I do. So if even like proper unironic fans of the musical aren't looking forward to this, I don't know who they've made it for, essentially, because Cats, it isn't enough of a success, I don't think, that, you know, that it would be pulling in non-musical theatre fans by the thousands, even with all these big names attached to it, in the same way that Les Mis or Sweeney Todd to a lesser degree was. No, I don't think saying like, oh, Judi Dench is in this, and Ian McKellen, and James Corden, and Idris Elba, and Jennifer Hudson, I don't think just saying that is enough to make people go, yes, I will give this a try, who aren't fans of musical theatre. And within the musical theatre community, Cats, as I said before, it's rarely treated as little more than a joke. So I genuinely don't know who they've made this thing for, or what they have hoped to gain by making it in the first place. You know, I can't see it making back much of a profit. I think it will make back some profit, but I doubt it will be a substantial amount. The people who I do know, who I've met online, who like Cats as a musical, are horrified by the trailer, and a lot of them have sworn off seeing it. I'm not going to go and pay to see it. The only way I will see it is, as I said, if I'm still working at the cinema and I can get in to see it for free. I genuinely don't know who they made it for, or why it exists, and essentially that's kind of like the worst thing you can say about a work of art is, I don't know why this exists. But that is genuinely how I feel about this trailer. So yeah, that's essentially like my really long rant about the Cats trailer, which is like taken far more time than it deserves to. So yeah, as always, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff YouTubers are supposed to say at the end of this. And I shall see you next time I post a video, or you can check out my blog, because I promise I am going to start updating it a lot more regularly than I have been doing. But yeah, I'll see you guys around somewhere. Okay, bye.